Hey guys, I'm the Summer Mindset Coach and I'm here to teach you everything you need to know in order to consciously create your desired life experience. This is the last one, the final video of the childhood core wounds trauma thingy series, and in this one we're going to talk about the wound of betrayal. I'm gonna give you my indicators on how I figure out whether or not a person has that, and I'm gonna talk about how it feels like to have that wound. How does it materialize, so to speak, in your life? In general, if you have that wound, you have a general feeling of disappointment in life. Your life is never really 100% what you want it to be. You deal a lot with half-assed manifestations, and even prior to becoming a conscious creator or starting the journey of becoming a conscious creator, you always kind of like got your things only half-assed. So for instance, you wanted a specific job, you would get the job, but the salary is like lower than expected, or it's in a different town, or they need you to move, or you have to work with a colleague that you just really don't like. It's just like never the whole thing. And you kind of have learned to settle for the blast in life, you know? It's like this little kind of security net, or you're like more focused on having the security and the stability in your life rather than like taking the risks and going overboard and being like, you know what, fuck it, I want to have this and I'm gonna keep going as long as I can. So essentially I have like one weird example, but I think that breaks it down pretty damn directly. So imagine you are hungry. And all you can think about is a burrito. You just want a burrito. It's like, oh yeah, oh my god, you have dreams about it. You fantasize about eating it. But the only store that is open is a pizza store, right? So what you gonna do then? A healed person, a person that is stable within themselves, a person who knows that they can have whatever the fuck they want, regardless of their circumstances, regardless of where they are starting right now. They know in the end they can always get to what they want. This person would not settle for a piece of pizza. They would not. They would either make a burrito themselves, or they would find a restaurant further away. They would fucking climb Mount Everest in order to get to the freaking burrito, right? But they would not settle for a pizza or a salad or pasta. If their desire is the burrito, they will have the fucking burrito. That's it. So a person with the wound of betrayal is more inclined to settle for the pizza or the pasta or the salad or whatever is available right now, because they are used to not being satisfied, they are used to not having their needs met, and also because it gives them a certain sense of safety. It's the mindset of, you know what, I'd rather settle for the pizza, settle for the salad, the pasta, whatever, so that I at least have something to eat and I don't have to starve. So they come from a very deep hole of lack mentality, and they are just like, it's a part of them. And this is in general, this is not just in one extreme. It's this is like the general theme, so to speak, of a person that has a major wound in that area. And another indicator, a general indicator, is a big lack of trust in other people, trust in the process, trust in yourself, trust and relying on things. Not being in control is very hard for a person who has that wound of betrayal. Now let's get into the specifics when it comes to those both extremes. The first extreme would be a person that struggles a lot with putting themselves first. They have a pattern in their lives of being disappointed by people. They have a pattern, or they have a history better. Yeah, they have a history of being disappointed by people. They have a history of constantly meeting people that are incapable of putting their damn money where their mouth is. So a lot of people that are like, you know, wow, we're gonna do this and then that, and I promise you that, but then they never follow through, right? So those people have a low, or have developed over life, a lower expectation when it comes to what other people are capable of doing for them, and they always kind of expect it not to happen. They will be pleasantly surprised if something is actually working out in their ways, but it's like when if shit hits the fan, if they get rejected, if they get a plan gets cancelled, something is not happening, they will not be surprised. They expect this to happen. So having these low expectations kind of makes them overly flexible. If you are somebody that is overly chill with people, other people canceling plans, other people not pulling through. If you're like in situations where like, well, I planned and organized myself for an entire week for this specific event and now everything gets cancelled, but hey, so what? That's life, that's free time, it's totally fine, it's totally cool. If you have that and you're a little bit over the top, then this could also be an indicator. So essentially, those people always try to be the bigger person because they have such a low expectation on their life and events and in people and in general. They are like very compassionate people. I have to say that, like, people with that wound in that extreme and that like one polarization of how it can manifest have a tendency to be extremely forgiving. But the problem is they are not really truly forgiving. Not in terms of, oh, I understand, I see how I did this and everything I'm going to talk about tomorrow in the life, and then truly forgive and forget and let go. They will be like, ugh, I kind of expected that to happen anyways. It's okay, it's fine. You're human, everything is good. But they will take a mental note and they will not fucking forget. It will just be yet another disappointment in their long lists of already collected disappointments in the past. Another thing is, another trait for this first extreme is that those people have a tendency to want to do everything by themselves. So when it comes to things that are truly, truly important and things that have to work out in that person's mind, they will load themselves up with a shitload of responsibility because of their lack of faith and trust and their lack of great expectations in life. They do see themselves sometimes, like more often than not, as the one who needs to make it happen. So they need to be, if they want to have a result that is at least half as satisfying, they need to be the ones who are doing the work, who are responsible for that. And when it comes to career and like projects and whatever, stuff like that, they will most likely have a huge amount of projects that they are piling on to themselves, and then they don't really know like which one do I need to focus on. That's me, by the way. I do that, I still do that, and I'm still like, god damn itness, really? So it's a little bit the a little bit of fear based there. It's like, if I'm not the one taking care of this, nobody else will take care of this. And I will be even more disappointed, right? The next aspect to this is that if I split my energy into multiple things, into multiple projects, it means that if 9 out of 10 are failing, I still have one that could potentially like generate some kind of satisfaction for me, right? So it's like fear-based decision making, fear-based loading yourself on. And it's also a form of trying to stay detached from the outcome because you are already expecting it to be negative or not as positive as you would dream, as you would actually desire it to be. So that happens in relationship situations, whether it's friendship, just like social group settings, or even in romantic relationships. These people have a tendency to embody several roles simultaneously. So they are not just a friend, they are not just a boyfriend, the girlfriend, they are not just embodying their specific role which matches their personality most. No, they will also be the mother of the group, the father of the group, the caretaker, the one person that always pays for everything, the one person that everybody comes to talk to. Again, that's me. Never mind. So it's like a whole kind of dynamic here. Now, I already mentioned in the beginning, not all of these wounds are necessarily, or not all of the manifestations that happen due to these wounds are necessarily bad, because as you can see, this is a wound that I am resonating with very closely, and I have healed it, and yet it's still something that shows up in my life. However, I use it for my advantage most of the time, right? So I personally have been and still am the one that is mothering everybody. I'm the one that people come to talk to about God knows what's going on in their life, whether it's I have a stomach ache, or whether it's like my grandma died, or I just broke up with my boyfriend. People will always come to me, and that's my role. Hey, I mean, I turned it into like a freaking career, so right. So that's just like a little like, just so you know, not everything about these wounds is necessarily all bad, or at least not the way they manifest or what you do with it, right? But this is definitely something that like resonates for me very, very strongly, especially in the past. I have learned to have better boundaries for myself recently, but before that, in the like past couple of years, I definitely was that kind of person. So, and I know how it feels like, and I feel you. If you're that kind of person, welcome to the club. Now let's talk about the other extreme, the flip side of it. And that's also me. Used to be me. Still kind of some patterns are still there, and I'm just turning them into gold. It's like, that's what I do. I take shit, I turn it into gold. However, the flip side person would be afraid of responsibility. They have an issue with keeping up promises, in terms of either they don't want to promise anything, they don't want to commit, like even to simple shit like what we gonna eat for dinner. If in the past, and again that totally used to be me, if somebody would ask me like in the early morning hours, like, so tonight what you want to do, shall we like go watch a movie, should we like order in, if so what you want to eat, I would be completely overwhelmed, because I didn't want to make the commitment to decide now what I want in like 10, 15, 16 hours, because I wasn't sure if I could keep it up, right? If I have experienced in my past the wound of betrayal, now we will talk about how this gets inflicted onto you in just in a moment. If I have experienced that and I have all of these trust issues, I also don't trust myself, and I don't want to disappoint other people. So therefore, I'm going to be super floaty and super up in the air and super non-decisive, undecisive, indecisive. Indecisive is the word, there we go. So this happens, that's definitely a thing. So it's either trying to avoid making promises in general, or making promises and then not being able to actually keep them up, because this is what you learned, this is what you're used to, right? So in general, a lot of avoidant, unattached behavior, struggling to make decisions, definitely being triggered when your plans are interrupted or disrupted. Is disrupted a word? I'm just gonna use it, who cares? So when the other extreme was overly forgiving when things got interrupted, this extreme is extremely pissed and has a tendency to explode into people's faces. I've seen this in friends a lot, and friends of mine that have this, because I'm a little bit on the flakier side, and I like don't commit too strongly too soon. Whenever I during the day change my mind and cancel plans on someone just because I changed my mind or something else came up, I had a shitload of friends that would be extremely hurt. So if you feel triggered as fuck, if somebody cancels on you, somebody ruins your plans, somebody has to take a rain check, or they just simply changed their mind. They wanted to hang out, but then they were like, it's kind of more of me time, day-ish, and this triggered you and you felt disappointed and you felt like, yeah, but what in the shit am I supposed to do now? I was kind of relying on you. Then definitely look into this wound a little bit deeper. An upgrade of that would be narcissistic and extremely selfish behavior. Now, I do like being selfish, and I do think that based on the ground structure of what I'm teaching, everything is a projection of your internal life, and you have to take full responsibility. It also means that you need to be selfish in a way. You need to put yourself first. You need to come first, period. But there are healthy ways of doing that, and then there are not so healthy ways of doing that, right? And narcissistic behavior definitely falls into that category. It's a self-preservation, self-defense mechanism that comes out. And this can show up in terms of being cutthroat. There's this saying, I cannot for the life of me remember in what language it's actually originated, but I'm just gonna translate it into English anyways. Maybe it was even English, who knows. But like climbing over corpses in order to get something that you want, like being ruthless essentially, and exploiting people. That is definitely something. What also factors into that is that if your plans are then still failing, you will point your fingers at somebody else, and you will make others responsible for your feelings. That was a big dynamic in my family. People would give you shit. People would, like my family members, they had a tendency to ask, so how you doing? And if my answer was not 100% unicorn, sunshine, and rainbow, they would then turn on me and tell me, you ruined the evening with your blah. I'm like, well then fuck you, don't ask me how I'm doing. Like, this is something that I've seen. So in my case, in my family, the wound of betrayal is a like really big thing, and it's not just for me, it's like I see it literally in every single one of my family members. So yeah, those are the indicators. Congratulations. Now let's talk about where this shit is coming from. It's not necessarily betrayal per se, like not in terms of backstabbing. The wound of betrayal gets inflicted at a very early age, where if you have people that are promising you things and then they are not pulling through. This is like the main thing there. Yes, you can get this wound by direct betrayal in terms of somebody's literally, not literally, but figuratively speaking, backstabbing you, going behind your back, ratting you out, being a piece of shit. Then yes, this can happen. This can happen in the family dynamics where you have a shitload of cousins and a shitload of like internal family competition, something like that. A lot of times that can happen there, and that would be direct betrayal. Now you can have direct betrayal also in terms of you trust your mother with something, you ask her to keep it to herself, and then 2 days later the entire fucking world and everybody and their grandma know about it. So this is like the kind of like the true direct betrayal. But it can also happen if you have family members or guardians or people in your community, whatever, that are constantly promising you the world but they never pull through, like making a statement, not living up to it, and then if it's like extra juicy on top of that, gaslighting you, turning it around and making you responsible for, well, it's your fault, you didn't follow the rules, you did something wrong, and that's the reason why we can't do this now. That like, so blaming onto you essentially. That's the one. And the other main thing that inflicts this wound is the direct betrayal that I mentioned earlier. There are potentially more, but these are the ones that I am familiar with and that I am aware of. So yeah, that's it essentially. And yeah, and that's it for the video, and that's also it for this series. So this healing thing is a thing for me that needs to happen once in every area, with every wound, with every pattern. But once you're healed, that's it. We're done, okay? This is not a channel. I do not promote shadow work. I do not promote healing your entire fucking life, okay? So we're not doing that. So see you tomorrow in the live. And that's it. And I love you all. And bye.